Hi lovelies, how are we doing today? So this little video are the instructions for the lovely crocheted 111 snood. So I just want to show you what this snood is actually made of, or how it's constructed. So we start off with a square. So this is like your standard granny square. So we have 1, 2 and 3, 4. We have 4 granny squares, which are then crocheted together. So this shows the crochet and the other side doesn't show the crochet. So can you see the difference there? And then it's edged with more crochet at the top and on the other side as well. So these are the instructions for the granny square. We're going to start off in the middle of one of these. So in a mo. So welcome back. This is a close-up of the granny squares. We start in the middle with a chain and then we keep working, and there is 1 and then there's 2, 3 and then 4 rounds. And I'm going to be using this wool. So I've already done one. So we'll start in here and then we will then expand it outwards. And this is a standard technique for granny squares. It's one of the techniques you can do. So I will always use the right side facing me, and we'll always work clockwise with right side facing me. We don't turn it over at any point. So I'm going to, oh, where's the end? Right, here we go. So I'm not going to leave much on my wool. Now you need, for this one, you need 100 grams of super chunky wool. And this is an 8mm hook. You don't leave very much on your end because there isn't much left in the wool when you'll need all of the wool really to do the snood properly. So we take it over, just like we've done with the other ones. We cross it over, turn it over, and then we go under and then over. And then I'm just going to pull it. And to make so it doesn't fall off the hook as easily, I just turn it around like that. So that we now have our first crochet. So I'd always recommend having the written pattern next to you as well, so that's quite handy. Now this is, we're going to 4 chain first of all. So a chain is just grab the wool and then through, making a chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go through that one as well. Right, so that's 4 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go make it into a ring. So this is our beginning bit. Make it into a ring. I'm going to go into the first chain. And then all I'm going to do, a slip stitch doesn't add length to it. It just joins it together. So I'm just going to grab the wool, pull it through and pull it through. Oops. You might need to help it along a bit sometimes. Okay, so we have a lovely circle now. So this is the middle of the ring. This is what we call it in crochet. Right, so first round. So this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to chain 3. So we're starting to do one of these. Now these are called trebles. I'm not going to worry too much about the language and the different stitches in this one, but as we go along, you'll pick it up. It's pretty easy. So then we have 3. So 1, 2, 3. excuse me. So this 3 chain counts as a treble. So treble 3. That's why it's a 3 chain. Now for a treble, I'm going to wrap the wool round my needle. I'm going to go into the middle of the ring, grab the wool again, pull it out, and then there's also 3 stitches on here now. I'm then going to grab the wool again, go through 2, and then grab the wool again and go through 2. That is a treble. Okay, now we need 3 of those, so we need another one. So that's round the wool round before it goes into the ring. Grab the wool, and we need another one. Grab the wool again, through 2, and then through again. Okay, so we have 3 there. So just to go back to that first treble, the reason I did a 3 was, can you see, we have 1 across at the top. So there's 1 there, 1 across, and then there's 1, 2 down the side. So there's 1 across and then 1, 2. So like a little L or a 7, like a 7. Okay, now we're going to need a bit of a gap. So we're going to do 1 chain, and then we're on our trebles again. So 3 trebles. So we'll go under, in, grab the wool. I'm just going to get more wool. It's another treble right underneath. Then we'll go through there in the middle. Through 2 and then through another 2. Just got a bit of hair involved. Right. Now I'm just going to move this round. Now this is the bit we started with. Now I'm just holding it. Doesn't matter if you can't do this on the first go, but I'm just holding it, so I'm going to wrap it round so then I don't have to stitch it in. So I've got my first 3, we've got a chain there, and we've got 1, 2, I need another treble, so underneath, and then we'll go through there, grab the wool out, and then grab the wool again, through 2, and then through 2 again. So that's 1, 2, 3. We now then have a chain. And then we are on our 3rd set now. So in. So I think part of the well, not difficulty, but it just takes a little bit of time to get used to what your right hand and your left hand need to do. So my left hand, I am holding the what I'm working on with my thumb and my back 2 fingers. The other 2 fingers, the top 2 fingers, are holding the wool, are tensioning the wool. So then it's a lot easier to crochet with. And then the right hand is just holding my crochet hook. And then because I know how to twist it, that's all I'm doing. So hang on, we've got 1, 2, 3, then a space, 1, 2, 3, then a space, 1, 2. We need another treble here. So round, in, grab the wool. I'm just going to grab a bit more wool up the corner. So however you want to hold the crochet hook, whatever's comfortable for you, is how it works. There is no, if you get these stitches, great. There's nothing to say you can't just, honestly, it's do what you want to do. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, then a gap, 1, 2, 3, then a gap, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, then a gap, and then one, 2, 3. And then I'm probably just going to move them round so they're in the right way. So move them round, I'm just going to push them round. And then to join, we need to join it. Again with a slip stitch. So this is not going to add anything onto no length is added onto the stitches. Now, I'm going to take it, this is the top of the first treble, so I'm just going to pop it in here. So just through there, and then I'm going to grab the wool and then go through. Okay, just like that. Or actually we have to do a chain first, so I'd forgot the chain. So we have 3 and then we have a chain in between. So I'm just going to, a chain is just like that. So a slip stitch is very like a chain. It's joining it together, really. And then through there and then through as well. So that is our first round. So we have we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, can we see that? It gets a bit easier when it gets bigger, because at the moment it's hard to see these spaces in between. Okay, so round 2, we do 3 chain, which is our first treble. So 1, 2, 3. Then we have 2 treble into the chain space, which is this one. So this one, we're just going to go to the right a little bit, because that's the one that is nearest to this. So we just do our 3 trebles in there. It's sometimes common to change colours at this point as well. So you would just then join it into that chain space. They're called chain spaces for patterns if you're looking at patterns. So we have 3. I've just done 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 2 chains. So we need a bit of a gap in here. So 2 chain, and then we are going to do 3 trebles into the same chain space. So just pop the, you may not think the needle fits or the hook fits, but it will. And then so that's 1, 2. Doesn't matter if it's all quite thick. This is how it's supposed to work. Oops. 2, and then 3. So this is how we create a square from a circle. So there's a nice bit of maths in here as well. Right, so we now have a corner, which is rather lovely. Right, so we need 1 chain, and then we need a treble. We need exactly the same, all of this in here, and then again in here, and then again in this corner as well. So that's 3 trebles, 2 chain in the middle, and 3 trebles. So I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll see you in a mo. So I've now just about completed the second round. I just wanted to show you how I'm going to join these together. So let's get that bit out of the way. So I've already done a chain, because we need a chain just before we finish. Now at the top here, we're trying to join it at the top. So this is the stitch. So we need to be, so that's 2, but you have a part underneath. So there's a little bit underneath here. And what you need to do is to stick your crochet hook just through that. So you need to get 2 on the top. And then that's how it all holds together. And then you get, that's how it all looks nice as well. So you make sure that you get 2. Sometimes if you go wrong, you will only pick up 1 of those. But really, when you're trying to get things together, you need to make sure that both of those little lines, which are part of the stitch, are on top of the crochet hook. Okay, so now we've got the next round. So can you see? Lovely square there. Now, round 3. So again, we need 3 chain. So that's a 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to need to go into the chain space. Now on this one, it's bigger. You can see it much better now. It's that one. So this one, again, if you were going to change colour, you'd do a... I'll show you how to change colour actually. So I'll just go back, just cut it off and then loop that through, and then that's it. And then you just need to either weave this in or sew it in, or crochet it in at the back like I tend to do. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then we need 3 treble in here. So on this one, let me just show you where we are. We're on here, so I'm going to have to do 2. Can you see that there? So we've got this bit done here. We then converted it into a square. And now we're on this bit up here, the bigger one. So this is the last round, really. So I'm just going to... So 1, 2... I just go in front. If you go in front of the treble that you've just done, it sort of works and pushes the other one along. So that's 1, 2, and then 3. Oops, oopsie. Just do that again. See, it's easily done if you get, it's easily all done again if you need to. Right, so we have 3 treble in there. Right, so we need, for this one, this is the corner one. So that's where we need to do our corner. So that would be 3 treble, 2 chain, 3 treble. And then we then have a middle one this time. So that's 3 trebles in there and then the corner ones again. So I'm just going to crack on with that. Hi, so I just wanted to show you how to slip stitch again. So at the beginning we did a 3 chain. Now this one goes across, so there is a number 2 chain. So let me just try and show you that. So this will be this, so that one is the number 3 chain and this is the number 2 chain. So the number 3 chain goes across, so number 2 is at the top. So we need to be going in the number 2 chain. So I'm just going to put it to the side and just show you that I've now got a yellow one and an orangey ready one on the top. So then I'm just going to do my slip stitch and then join it all together. And we now have another one done. Now I'm going to cut it, but not leave very much on because it's quite tight with the wool. And then we'll get on to the next one. and I'll probably, once I've done 4 of these, I'll come back and show you how to crochet them all together. So welcome back. I'm now on the 4th one, and I have run out of wool. So this ball that I used was 100 grams. But what is actually important for how much wool you need to work out that you need is the length of the wool. Now, I've got my ball band here. There's lots of super information on here, which is really helpful. So I just wanted to go through a bit about the information on the ball band. So colour, obviously, this is all relating to the colour. And the lot, they're made in batches. So if you're going to do a jumper or something where you need a lot of the same wool, it's best to get the same lot, because then they're all dyed the same and you won't get slight variations in colour. So it's 100% premium acrylic. We've got machine. This tells you the tension that it usually works to and what regular size needles you'll need, about washing and ironing and that sort of thing. But what information we need is, this is 100 grams, and can you see here it says 60 m. So that means the length of the wool is 60 meters. Now the other one I did, the blue one, was 100 meters. So we need 100 meters of wool for this pattern. So that's why I've had to go into my second ball of wool. So that's important. If you're going to do the pattern again, you need to make sure that you have 100 meters of wool. So if I have 2 balls of this, that's 2 lots of 60, so that's 120 meters. So I'll have a bit of leftover. So then you could do some extra bits on it, or I don't know, do something else to match it. So I just wanted to show you how I'm going to join in my second ball of wool. So I'm just going to pop the ends together and then just do a knot. That's the easiest way to do it. Just do a knot, pull it super, super, super tight, and then that'll just sit at the back of the work. If you want to, you can. I would cut it off about there, so there's a bit of end on here, and if you want to be really belt and braces, just dab it with a bit of textile glue. Otherwise, if you don't mind sewing in the ends, then I would probably do it down here, do my knot down there, and then that gives you a lot more wool to then weave in each of the ends to make it 100% more secure. But totally up to you, whichever one you want to do. So I'm just going to crack on with my last one, and then I'll show you how to stitch it together. All right, so I have now done 4 squares, and now we're going to stitch them or crochet together with more crochet. So I just want to show you how this looks. So essentially we're going to put 2 squares together, wrong sides together, so right side facing, as I've been doing this whole time, and then we're just going to slip stitch chain all the way along here. So I'm not adding anything into the middle of so I'm not adding anything or any crochet onto the top or the side of it, and it's only going to be shown here. So I'll just show you the other side as well. So this is probably the side that I would crochet on. So can you see there's like a chain stitch, and there's nothing along the top there. It's just a chain stitch that is putting them all together. Right, so I haven't stitched in any of the ends. I'll do that at the end. Right, so oops. Right, so these are both right sides together. So right sides are up. So I'm just going to take this end here and this end and just fit them together so they actually, look at that, the colours nearly match down here as well. Yeah, so that's good. Right, now I'm just going to get my end here, wherever that's gone, here. Right, so this is my end. So you could pin this if you want to, but I probably find it easier not to. So this is, excuse me. So this is right in the corner where we have a 2 chain. And then I'm going to go right in the corner of the other one as well. So they're right in the corner. Now all I'm going to do is hitch up the wool. That's an end, so that doesn't need to get in there. So hitch up the wool and pull it through. That's all I'm doing first of all. So we have an end. Actually, I'm going to leave a bit more of a longer end on because that's going to get stitched in, which will hold it in place even more. And this is what I'm going to be working with, this wool. Now, so I'm just going to go in the next one. Oops. Move that along. So I'm just going to go in between the treble crochets in. I'm going to loop the wool round, pull it through, and then I'm just going to take the second one over the first one, or the first over the second. Okay, so I'm just going to move round into the next crochet. It does seem quite a lot to push through, but it'll be easy because they're spaces that you're pushing through. So then I'm going to grab the wool, pull it through, and then first one goes over the second. And then as you're working along, because it's the same design, everything will match up as well. So, and it's quite, I'm going to put that in there so that is on the inside. I'll stitch that in later. Now we want to get into the next, after the next treble. So through all of that. Round, and then that one over that one. Oh, I've got a hangnail. Sort that out. Right. And then this one. Go through. And then pull it all through them all, and then that over that. Okay, and then keep going. Yep, and then yellow over the red. And then there's another one, there's a gap there after that one. And you can do it by feeling this, really. And then we're going to grab the wool again, and then the red goes over the blue. So can you see we've got a nice little chain? That's all I've done. Nice little chain down one side. And I'll just get to the end. So let's go through. So I go in the chain spaces, really, which gives it a nice finish. This is another way, and then we're back to the end chain space where you've put 2 in at the side. So there's a nice lovely chain space you can get your hook in. And then I'm going to, now I'm just going to pull that up. Now I'm not sure if I showed you in the other video. I'm just going to use, snip off the wool. I've snipped the wool, and then all I'm going to do is take the end through. So that is the only one that has gone over. And then I've pulled it tight, but I will need to sew this in because otherwise it can easily unravel. So just to show you what it looks like. So there's a nice chain. So I quite like the chunky look on the outside, but the other side looks like that. so it all should all match up properly for you. Okay, so whichever side you like really, and then I've got some more to do. So I've now crocheted in all of it and for a snood. Now I did start at this side and then I crocheted all the way up to here because that's the end bit that I looped through. Now I am just going to go and stitch in the ends. So I'm using a big fat sewing needle. See if I can get this in here. So I'm using a big fat sewing needle. And I'm just going to stitch together. Stitch it all together. Just so it doesn't come out. We're going to be crocheting round the edge, so we'll be crocheting round this edge and this top edge as well, but just I don't want anything unraveling, so I'm just going to stitch in and see what. So something like that. That's what's lovely about this pattern, is that you don't, it's quite forgiving if you make mistakes with it. Oops, so I've done it again. So it doesn't matter. So it's good for a beginner pattern, this one, and a beginner wool actually. So let me just pop this through here. So the idea is you're just winding the wool through in any way really. And there we go. I think that'll probably do it. And then I'm just going to let go of the end. So I've left a little bit on so it then eases in, and you can't see it too much anyway. So I'm just going to crack on with the other ones and then I'll show you how to do the top. Hello and welcome back to our crocheted snood instructions. So I have just made another one. I have now stitched it all together. I have sewn in all of my ends, as you can see. Now I am still going to use the seam showing as the right side. So now if I just show you the one I've done, like Blue Peter styling, the one I've done has now got some crochet edging. So I've gone all the way around the top and around the bottom as well, and that's the bit I'm going to show you now. So let me just turn it around and show you. So it's the same stitch as we've done all the other bits, except we don't grab the wool before we put it into the space. We do it without any, so it makes it a bit shorter, the stitch. So can you just see that there? And it's going to be really simple. So I'll show you this a bit more when I go into the other bit of video. So I'm going to start in the corner, and then how many stitches have I done in here? So we're going to do three in a big chain space, and then we have a 3 treble, and we're going to do 1 in each of those spaces, and then 3 in the big one, and then 1 in each of the smaller ones here. And then that creates the lovely edging, top and bottom, and I'll just show you that now. Right, so I flip this round. Now I'm going to start in this corner, and all I'm going to do is put my hook in, and then I'm going to grab the wool. That's going to be the end that you're going to sew in. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the wool. Now, as I said, we're going to do 3 crochet. They're called double crochets, this one. So 3 double crochets in the big chain space, then we have a treble, and then there's a gap in there as well. So we're going to do one in there, and then 3, and then that's for the whole bit there. So I'm just going to do a slip stitch. So now the wool is secure, and as you can see, I've left a long enough end on so I can sew that in. Although if you hold it at the back here, it's a sneaky way of avoiding stitching in, which we quite like. Right, so, oops, something on there. There we go, get that off. Right, so these are all trebles, which we've been doing down here, which is when we go around grab the wool, and then we go in, and then we do the stitch. This one, we're not going to grab the wool, so it makes it's a shorter one at the top. Now you will, depending on how much wool you have, you could do a double, a treble if you wanted to. You will need more than 100 meters of wool if you wanted to do that. And I know on the blue one, this one, this was 100 meters, and I was quite tight on the wool, so that's why I decided to do a double crochet. But if you have more wool and you'd like to make it a bit longer, it'll come out probably just a bit longer, double the length of the stitch. So it goes quite frilly as well, which is what I quite like when it's a bit longer. So you can do that. I just check that you've got enough wool to do it with. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to go in, grab the wool through, and then we grab the wool again and then out. So that's number, actually, I'm going to, if I do a slip stitch and then I do a chain to start with, that gives me a better height. So then that will count as my first double crochet. Let's just get that wool out. So in, round with the wool. I've just tucked this in so it goes in there, round with the wool, and then another stitch. That's 2. And then again, in, grab the wool through, and then we grab the wool again and then through both. Okay, so we have a treble here, so we have a gap in here. I'm going to pop it in straight away, grab the wool through, and then grab the wool again and then through. So want to find the hole, pop the hook in, grab the wool, push it through. Right, now we have 3 in this one, so it's through, grab the wool, and then that makes another stitch. Put the hook through the chain space, grab the wool again, pull it through both, and through. So I'm just trying to show you how easy these stitches are. So we have, so this one, hang on, so that's the 3 chain space. So we need 2 here. I've only done 1. Let me just have a look. Oh no, 3. So we need 1 in here, 1 in there. So can you see there's 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. So we're going to go in the middle between there, like that. Now, by all means, stop and play this again so that you can have a look at it. I just want to make sure. So it might be helpful if I pull it back a bit so you can see how I hold it. So my thumb is down here. I'm holding, tensioning the wool up there, and then all I'm doing, the other side, is holding the crochet hook. So it probably needs to be a bit wider or further back. The camera. Okay, and then we just carry on, and then just like we finished the round when we were doing the granny squares, if you do a slip stitch at the end, so I'll show you that in a minute. So as you can see, I'm now background at the beginning. It looks lovely, I think. And look at the that's the sort of edge of it, really, which is a nice sort of chain. So I'm just going to do a slip stitch into the top. So it's through that red, it's the red one really that we really want to get in. I'm just going to try, there we go, in like that. Okay, so that's at the top of the chain. So it goes up like this, and it goes up like and then across. It's the one at the top that you want to get in. And then all I'm going to do is pull it through both, because if we wrap the wool around a bit more, we then make a bit of a longer bit, and then that wouldn't fit in with the pattern. So can you see? And then all I do is I will cut this off and thread that through there, and then I have a bit of length to stitch in. Okay, hello again. Right, so I have now finished the top and the bottom, and we have a rather fabulous snood. Now, because I needed 100 meters of this lovely gorgeous wool, I've gone into my second ball, and there is about this left over. Now, you could pop this in to your super chunky bag, because I like to keep all of my stash, and you never tell anyone about your stash. It's just usually a little secret we all have. We all know we've got loads of stash because we always love wool. I usually keep them separate in my stash. So I usually keep chunky, super chunky, all the different types of the weights of wool in separate little bags. So I save all my little shoe bags and fabric bags I get with handbags and all that sort of thing. So that's what my stash is really. But there's actually quite a bit left over. Now, I hate leftovers. So in food, and I hate waste. So I have a little idea to do. Now, I've only just come up with this idea, and I've been playing around with it, which is why my wool is a bit messy. So I'm just going to try and find the end again. Here we go. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So it's just a little bonus thing at the end. So you can keep your wool. You might not want to do this. You might do, but I just thought I would show you what I'm going to do, because I just think this is really cool. Right, so we're going to go under, over, pull that out. And then we just need to pull this up. So please stop. The idea is that because you have the video, you just stop and you look at things and you go, right, where are hands going? What do I do with that? Right, so this is going to be made of 2 parts. So the first part I'm going to do is like a crocheted rectangle, or like a long rectangle. So I'm going to do, the idea is I work on 3 chains going upwards. So it's going to be 3 chains. I'm not sure how long it's going to be yet, but we've got 3 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now, when we turn it round, so I want it to be 3 chains wide, but because I can't get my hook into this end bit, so I need to do a turning chain, which is the 4th one. Okay, so there's 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. That's 3. So I'm going to double crochet, which means I'm not going to wrap the wool around. I'm going to go straight in to the chain. So we have our turning chain, and then the 1. So it's miss 1 from the end of the hook. I'm going to pop it in, wrap the wool round, bring it through, and then grab the wool again. Now that is a double crochet. I'm going to go into the next one, wrap the wool through, pull it through again, and then I'm going to do another one, wrap it through, and then pull it through again. Now this is the technique that you use for lovely blankets. So blankets are so easy. They're very like this. So it's, if you just think of it as longer, and then we're going to do our turning chain, And now we have to turn the work round. So I'm going to turn it round like that. And then I'm going to not go in that one, that's the turning one. I'm going to work in this one. So through, grab the wool, through, and then through. Then we go in again. Now when I go in, we have to, if you look at the top, there's two bits of wool that make up the stitch, and you have to get both of them, because otherwise, like I said in a previous video, it'll all just fall apart. So through there, and then we'll do like that. Now this one, you look through, push it through, grab the wool, pull it through once, and then we grab it again. Okay, now we've got to the end again, so we do a turning stitch, or turning chain. I've turned it round, then we go again. Okay, now we have a little rectangle. So I'm going to keep going on this, and then I'm going to come back to you. Hello. Right, so I have cracked on with this. I have done 10 rows. So let me just try and show you through my video, my phone. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's how we count the rows. So can you see, I really quite like this. This is a double crochet. So if you can think that if you can do this, you can make a big blanket, you can make a small blanket, you can do whatever you like. Now, on this one, I haven't done the turning one, because what I want to try and do is I'm just going to do a little chain. It's not going to be attached, so it's going to be like a little make a loop all the way up here. So it's going to be a chain going here. So I'm going to do probably a 3 chain. We'll see how it goes. This is design on the H, as they would say in Norfolk. So we have 1, 2, 3. I think 3 will probably be enough, and then I'm going to go right in the end. I'm going to go right in the end. I'm just going to pick up that other one. So I've got 2 to make it secure, that's all. And what I'm going to do is grab the wool and then go through, so like a slip stitch. So now I have a little hole, or a little chain space. You see, knitting, crochet is like knitting with holes. So if you have holy knitting, try crochet. Right, okay, so we have half of our little thing here. Now we're going to try and do like a semicircle all into this thing, all into the chain space here. So I'm going to do 1. I'm going to just see how many chains I need for this. I think maybe 4. Is that going to be the right proportion? Yeah, should we go with 4? Let's go with 4. So 4. So I'm going to go, this is going to be a double treble. So I'm going to go round twice. I'm going to find my chain space, pop it in there. Then I'm going to grab the wool underneath, grab again through 2, grab again through 2, grab again through 2. So, and then I'm just going to push that along. Now the idea is that we get a few of these all round. So we're going to go 2 in there, and then through 2. We're going to grab the wool again through 2, grab the wool again through 2. So that's another one. I'm just going to push it round because I'd like a few. Okay, so let me just crack on with that. Right, so I've now done 10 of those. So the idea is you have like a little medal type thing, which I thought well, I haven't finished this yet, so let me just show you. So we're going to do a chain and then a turning chain. So we're going to turn it round, and then we're not going to work in the turning chain, we are going to work in the next one. So let me just get this right here. So we're not in the turning chain, so it should be that one. So we're going to do a double crochet. So that means putting that in and then grabbing the wool out, and then we grab the wool again and pull through. Okay, so that means pushing it in the hole, grab the wool, pull it out, and then do another stitch with 2. Okay, I'll just crack on and do this. I'll just pull back a bit so you can see what I'm up to with my hands. So that's how I hold that needle. This, I hold this first, and then I grab the wool with my 2 fingers, grab the wool, pull it through, and then grab it like that. And then I tend to move my thumb and this finger, ring finger, over to then hold that wool in place. But this is it's practice. I've been doing this a long time, and actually I am very uncoordinated, but this is how I crochet. So if you're uncoordinated, you can crochet and you can knit. Very cack-handed and very clumsy as well, but I can do all of this and you can too. So let me just show you how we're doing. So I had thought that we could put a little brooch in so you could wear it proudly on your top, your coat or anything like that. Oops. And then if it all comes off, we just put it in again and then grab the wool and then go through. Now obviously you can decide which way you prefer it round, and maybe a bit of an iron with a damp cloth would be a good idea as well. Hang on, let me just show that to you again. So it was a bit like a palm tree, I suppose, as well. So I thought maybe you could use it as a little bit of a brooch, put the brooch through here and then put your favourite brooch through it, like so. It's a bit like a brooch. Or actually I might use it and pop it in my hair. I've got hair clips that I can then pop it through here and then pop that in my hair as well. I think I'm going to cut it off. So I'm going to cut it off and then I will stitch the ends in as well. So I do like a matching set. Oh, look at that. Oh, lovely. Oh, and then I'll probably stick this in my stash, but I'm now thinking, what am I going to do with the last little bit? So if you've got any ideas or what you've done with your little end of wool, let me know. I'd love to see them.